All right, we're back for chapter 10. This is the Managing Information Systems chapter number 10. We're talking part number 2, and we're carrying on with a little more detail to the system development life cycle. And we're going to start off with the phase number 1, which is the planning phase. And as I've just explained during the planning phase, that what needs to occur to trigger this, or to be that sort of genesis to start it all, is that you need to be able to identify a problem. And there's usually no lack of problems within an organization. And when you start working, you'll find that there's all sorts of things that you might be able to bring to the company. And this is really, I think, is so important for students to understand. And that is, if you can see a need within an organization and then do a little research, kind of like what we're doing in this course, to find that there's products out there that can help the company and show the initiative. And you guys could just write up a proposal. And I've done this many times in my career, that you can write up a proposal and submit it to management. The management might say, they're not interested, but sometimes they might say, thanks for taking the initiative. Managers love this. They really, really like this. And this is a great way, if you're trying to move up in the company, is to do this, because management sees you as, as a thinker, as a doer, and they want to promote those people if you've got that extra energy. So this is really an opportunity here. So if you look at this, they say on the slide here, it's systems analysts, must define the problem or need. But this really can come from anybody within a company. I've seen plans and proposals coming from just entry-level users that are coming and said, here's a real problem. Why don't we do ABC to fix this problem? And they even know of maybe a possible solution of XYZ, and then it starts the whole thing. It's that spark that gets things going, the plant to start the plan. So they can come from internally within, or it could be external. Like a company could say, well, our competitors are using a different product and they're becoming more competitive. So there's a threat there. And if you've ever taken some business courses and looked at a SWOT analysis, and you've looked at a comparison or a competitor out there who is possibly doing something that's better than you, or sometimes what happens a lot of times is people come from other companies into parallel companies, and they say, well, at the other company we used to do something like this, and this was the output. And that's really common. So I want to emphasize that the planning can really come from anyone. It usually comes from keeners, it comes from innovators, it comes from those people that are trying to climb the corporate ladder. So this is just a tip for you guys starting off your career. I think this is a great advice for anybody who's getting out there, and this is an easy opportunity because it gives, if you want to put the time in to think about it. And that's really what it takes. It takes a lot of time, thinking, and research. And this project I've asked you guys to do, the research project, is kind of around that idea of getting out there, coming up with an idea. You really have to think to push through, to come up with a unique idea. And I know it's not easy, but you have to come up and plan and come up with an idea and make the proposal and do the research. And that was really the reason why I'm doing that project. All right, so carrying on, systems analysts are these people that kind of take the lead of the project of implementing a new managing information system with the SDLC. So this doesn't have to be that person. Sometimes these are just the computer programmers or our IT department managers. It really comes from a variety of different groups. But anytime there is a plan, here's kind of the secret. You do need to look at the institutional strategic plan. So let me give you a tip about that. Here's Douglas College's strategic plan. Now, in our strategic plan, they're talking about successful students. This is what they would like to work towards. This is the bigger, broader picture. And in my area, like I work a lot with education, of course, I'm teaching, I work with curriculum, etc. So I'm always looking at managing information systems around the area of LMS, learning management systems, things like Blackboard. We've all used Blackboard. You guys know that is a managing information system for education. They call it learning management system, or LMS. So if I wanted to change that system or augment it or add another system to supplement it, I have to start here. Because it's here that you will get the support of the hierarchy of the company's top manager. This is the boss. This is the president, the CEO. This is their thinking. This is where the vision of where the institution is going to go. So this is our 5-year forecasted plan and our strategic goal. Most people don't read this unless you're in the top management. But you should read it to understand. Now, as students, we have lots to do, so it can be difficult. But look what they're talking about here. One of their key aspects is they want successful students. Well, how do you get to successful students? So after reading through this, and then the other thing is that they want to create a responsive learning environment. Well, think about that. A responsive learning environment can be accomplished by a learning management system or an MIS system geared towards education. So right there, they're saying that this is their goal. So if that's their goal, selling them on a new or an augmented or a supplementary learning management system should be kind of on the right track. That's where they're going. Now, to enhance that, you want to say, well, would a new learning management system help the social and environmental responsibilities for your community and the environment? Well, without getting into the social aspect much, but the environment you could sell them on the aspect that right now, there's so much online learning. Now, whether there's some pros and there's some cons to that, but if you were looking at a new system to help online learners, such as maybe a video integrated platform or a document submission system or some other kind of system, like you really got to put your thinking cap on to find that new MIS system that would help your organization. But how could I sell it? I could say, well, there's no paper being generated. So I know at Douglas College that we have over 20,000 boxes of paper that are printed per year. It's a huge amount of paper. It's a waste. And with this new system, we could have definitely an environmental responsibility with that new system. And then so on. I don't want to get into more details here, but you get the idea that you want to make a case. You want to build that case to supplement the planning phase. Without a good start and a good foundation, your system will never get adopted. That's why the first phase is it's critical. It's like starting a fire. You need to have a really clean, dry, kindling and a match to get things going. Otherwise, you'll never get a full fire going. So make a case how the proposed system can support the company's goals and the strategic plan. And in that aspect, it's so hard for management to give you a no-go response because they wrote the strategic plan. You are articulating your plan to their plan. So for them to say no would be them saying no to their own strategic plan. So I've done this myself and it has worked. I've done this and it hasn't worked. I would say I've probably proposed 5 systems and I get 1 through. So it's not easy. This is a very difficult process to do. And I've learned a lot in my career on, how to approach it and there's a lot of psychology, there's economic times, there's all sorts of factors that play into this. So must be articulated carefully for a successful system and performance evaluation. All right. This is a great idea. So you want to build support at the beginning. If you can come up with feedback, either doing formal or informal surveys, talk to people anecdotally, or you could do quantitative type of research to collect information from users or companies to try to build your case. Why do you need the system? There's one of the systems I've proposed at Douglas College here was a computer certification system. I just coined the term CSIS proposal. This was a system I came up on my own here at Douglas to create an opportunity for students to become certified in different computer systems. And students, I contacted students, and students loved the idea. They wanted to become certified with Microsoft Excel or different software programs like C# or Java, or become a PMP for Project Management Professional for project management. There's CPA and accounting certifications. So this was a system that I was working on, a managing information system that I wanted to implement at Douglas College. And I had written it such that the college in their strategic plan says that this is the direction they want to go. Then I went to the users, the students, and I collected all the information I could from students. Do they want this? I mean, if students don't want to get certified in industry certifications, then I wouldn't do it. Then I went to businesses and said, hey, would you hire a Douglas College student that has that certification? And they all said, yes, we love certifications. They like this because it's a third body vetting and articulating knowledge, not just Douglas knowledge, but from a third party, usually industry standard certification exams. So they loved that. So I got buy-in from all the stakeholders. So the deans said, okay, Ryan, here's a budget, go ahead and start it. The problem was I didn't have a lot of buy-in with other faculty, and partly because it was a lot of extra work. This was added to my workload. So it wasn't something that I needed to do. I just volunteered to do this because I kind of like it. And as a result, I did this for a couple of years and got a lot of students certified, but I had to do it all on my own, and I couldn't get any other faculty to sort of buy into the idea. Management wasn't willing to hire somebody with me to take off the burden. So the system kind of stopped. But as you guys know, I have implemented some certifications in this course. So Mystery Solved, I have taken the Linda, the small Linda certifications, and these aren't really big. They're just kind of anecdotal certifications, but they really pad up your LinkedIn account. So anyways, I do find that this is a very beneficial thing, and that's why I've implemented it in this course. Let's move on to the next part, and this is where you guys fall into as a stakeholder. A stakeholder is a person who has a stake in the system, and there are many people, and there's lots of stakeholders that can be in the system. So in different departments, there's different users. There's the systems analyst or the IT manager. Sometimes there's a project leader, project manager, programmers, technical analysts, quality assurance people. A lot of students start off as quality assurance. It's good. It's a good place to start off your career if you're in IT, anyways. Top management's involved. So you can see everybody's involved usually at that stage. In my example, when I started up the certification system, I had buy-in from everybody but my department, which is really interesting. Everybody thought it was a good idea except the department. The department didn't want to do it because it was so much extra work. I mean, I was burdening all these other faculty members to proctor certification exams and to communicate. It was like doing a part-time course. So it was adding a lot of workload, and the management they didn't have enough buy-in, or it wasn't me, really pushing or selling it enough to get them to hire a new person. It wasn't in the budget to hire a new person to help out. So anyway, that's why the system, we got it up and running, but it did eventually fail after a couple of years. When dealing with all the stakeholders, it's always good, and there's a political component to this too, because when you're talking about implementing a brand new system and you're talking to all these users, here's a little of my experience in life, is that people and politics plays a role in this, where if you're implementing a new system or you're applying it, some people might put up resistance to this. They don't want to change. A lot of people don't want to learn a brand new system. It's problematic. So we're doing that. Actually, we're going to be going through that next year. You guys probably all know the Respondus Lockdown browser. That system was added to Blackboard a few years ago, and we've now, the license is coming up, and they're going to implement a new classroom proctoring system. And now the faculty are going to have to learn a brand new system. So there's a lot of resistance to that. So we've collected information and feedback from users, and they're saying don't go to the new system because they know the old system, they like the system, and it works for them. So there is politics involved in this too, which is quite interesting component to it. Like I said, the internal users, like let's say for the faculty in that last example I just said, they really don't want to move towards a new system. Sometimes it's the opposite. The systems are so bad, so archaic, that the users and the employees are pushing for that new system. So it really depends on what you guys are looking at. And you guys will come across this many, many times in your career. I always ask for feedback. And what that does is it gives everybody a chance to express their thoughts. And if you can collect everyone's thoughts, positive or negative, and then address those, whether they're positive or negative, you can help become more successful in the outcome, definitely. And sometimes I've had situations where they've said, well, in the proposal they see some weaknesses that may not be you may not overcome them, and the system might just die. The proposal might die at this early planning stage at that point. External users, like I said, they're from outside. I've had situations where we brought in people from other institutions in to look at the system and what they have done, and then they have shared their feedback. But sometimes there's competing systems and users out there. You try to collect as much information as you can in that planning stage. It's really important. The more you guys plan, the better and stronger the system that you're going to be able to implement. So it requires a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, a lot of smarts, and some of it just comes through experience. You can only learn so much, but I think experience plays a part in that as well. When you guys are looking at these products, you guys are going to be looking at different companies or contractors or suppliers or developers out there that develop all these different, and there are a lot of salespeople out there. They're great resources. They're definitely going to give you a lot of the strengths of the system. They're not going to tell you much of the weaknesses because they want you to buy their product. So keep that in mind. Don't just buy based on the strengths. Really be critical and analytical about what are some of the weaknesses as you look at these systems. I do take their input as essential. They know intimate details about their products and services, but I do treat them as biased. They want to sell a product, so I keep that in the forefront. A common way of collecting data are polls and surveys. I do this actually quite a bit. I actually created a survey server, and I poll students quite a bit on this stuff. So this is a product that you guys can use. This is actually a managing information system for survey collection. If you guys wanted to, let's say you were into customer relationship management, you're in the marketing department or in the marketing program, this would be a good possible managing information system category that you might want to start looking at. What are all the survey systems out there for collecting data? I've got one here. Let me just see here. I think it's called, let me just look it up here. Okay, I built a server called, they call it Lime Survey. This is the name of the learning management, the MIS system that I chose for collecting data. I built a server here. It's called, if you guys want to check it out, it's called survey.ryan.com. As you can see, it's my survey. And these are just some of the courses that I teach. And if you're taking a course, one of my courses, you can click on it and you can go through, and I collect your information to see how this course is doing. And I've broken it down into sections like, what is the course, how do you find the course is going? Are you really learning anything? How is it organized? How is the instructions? How are these videos? How did the presentation go? Is there any feedback from you? And I put it on a Likert scale. Like, for example, the course, did you understand the objectives of the course? You might say, well, yeah, I guess it was okay. I didn't really get too much, but then I finally watched the video and I got a better idea, or whatever. You guys can put in whatever you feel. It's completely anonymous. If you want, you can make some extra comments down here. So there's a Likert scale here for the course. And then there's a little bit about me, like, am I very clear? Am I all over the place? Am I not doing things quite right, or whatever it is? Is it clear? Was I ready for class? Were these posted in time? Was I available? Did I answer emails? Blah, blah, blah. And then there's one on the presentations. Did these PowerPoints, come across? Did the videos come across? And then finally, just the general feedback. So my point there was to show you that this is an actual managing information system right here that you guys could do especially if you're in marketing. If you're in the marketing program, you could look at something like this, and then this would be something you could propose to your company. Say, listen, I could build a survey server and build questions to poll our customers to get better information, to service and provide better quality customer service to them. That's just a thought, but I kind of got off topic a bit here because I was talking about who are all the people involved, and what I'm doing is I'm collecting you guys for my course, even at that level. But if you were going to implement a new system, you could put a survey together and poll all of your stakeholders. This is really what I'm trying to go for. It's the stakeholders. You guys are all stakeholders in my course. That's why I'm surveying just you guys, because I want to have a better way of communicating, and it gives you guys an opportunity to be heard. And I'm listening to say, okay. And what I do with the survey, just so you know, is at the end, I go through these. And this is not Douglas College, by the way. This is just personally, this is my personal stuff that I use to help supplement my courses. And I change my courses each term. So I've modified even this course that you guys have now because of past students who have given me thoughts and suggestions on how to modify or change it. Now, some students will say things like, well, take out all the quizzes. You got too many quizzes on your... I get that one a lot. And that's... I get that. People don't... I do it for the reason of trying to keep people engaged every week in the course. Otherwise, you can get distracted and drift away from the course. So I want to try to keep people engaged each week. Anyway, that's probably enough for that one. I'll talk about the information of the task force as 3 of 3 in the next video.